So guys, you're looking to build your team and you've had no success with, reaching out on social media, your personal brand, stuff like that. And now it's time to go to the internet and you're just like, how can I trust random people online to get the job done, right? And you're looking at stuff like Fiverr, Upwork. Well, I've actually brought on a mentorship student of mine, Brad, and he is going to talk to you about his experience with using Upwork and finding freelancers and outsourcers on Upwork. Now he pretty much he outsources his entire business, like literally all of it, and is crushing it with that. So as I said, guys, he's gonna roll in for a special guest appearance. I think he's got like a 20-minute video lined up for us. So we're in for a good one, and I'll let Brad get into it now.
Yo guys, what's going on, and welcome to this video today. So what I want to cover for you today is outsourcing. Now, just before we jump into the nitty gritty of it, I want to cover a little bit about the importance of it, because to be honest with you, if you're working in your business and you're doing all of the work yourself, there's only so many hours in a day and you're only going to be able to scale to a maximum amount, right? Until you start to actually take some of that workload off of yourself and pay other people to do it, you're not going to be able to scale past a certain amount. And not only that, as a business owner, you want to be working on your business, right? Not in the business. If you're sitting there in the nitty gritty, doing all the Facebook ads, doing all the client work yourself, it's going to take away from things such as client acquisition and getting new business, which is what you want your main focus to be. And when I really started to get into this, I was in a bit of a scarcity mindset. I was like, oh, I don't want to pay someone else to do it because I'm going to be, paying out someone money. We covered in another, me and Iman covered in another video in this course actually, that, for me, my income was like that. It took a tiny dip, but then it went straight back up as soon as I started outsourcing, just because I had all the free time in the world to focus on these income producing activities, other ventures and things like that. And to be honest with you, outsourcing is also really good because it turns your business into almost like a stream of passive income. And we all know that passive income is the best thing in the world because, like I said, you can then focus on other ventures, you can go and live your life, you can go and travel, you can spend more time with your friends and family, and it just leads to a better quality of life. So now that we've covered that, I want to jump a little bit more into the actual freelancing aspect of it and where you can find them. So there's tons and tons and tons of freelance websites on the marketplace. There's tons of websites you can use which are specific for outsourcing. But to give you a few examples, there's freelance.com, there's paperhour.com, there's Elance. There's literally tons. You can Google them. There's hundreds of them on the website. There's hundreds of them out there, right? But in my opinion, the best place and the easiest place to find a good quality outsourcer is going to be on Upwork.com. So what you're going to want to do is go to Upwork.com and create a business account. You want to say that you're hiring for a project, and from there you create a job posting. It's very, very basic to do. It's very basic, very simple. If you want a little bit more info on it, you can just go onto YouTube and search how to hire on Upwork or how to create a job posting on Upwork. But it's pretty self-explanatory, right? If you're familiar with setting up a Facebook page, you can set up an Upwork account, very basic, all right? And you want to create a job. Now, when you create this job posting, you want to make sure that you're making it clear, precise, and you include what you want in there. So let's say you are hiring for just general social media management services, all right? Let's say you've got a client that's going to be paying you for Facebook ads and then also social media management. You can either find someone that does all of it, or you can just find someone that does the social media management. It's completely up to you, right? So let's just, for argument's sake, say you're hiring for social media management. You want to create a job posting that says something along the lines of looking for a social media manager in the title, and then in the description, just say, I'm looking for a social media manager to take control of my client. My client is for example, argument's sake, say a dental consultant. What I need from you is 30 social media posts a month. You're going to need to create the graphics, write the captions, and schedule the posts out. One thing you really want to do when you're creating these job postings as well is you want to ask them, within the job posting, you want to say things like, can you please send me links to previous work, or can you send me some examples of your previous work? And another thing you want to do is you also want to say, can you please let me know how much it will cost you fixed rate to do this job? Because what's going to happen is when you post that job, you're going to get anywhere from 10 to 50 people apply within the first 24 hours. And you want to be able to narrow narrow it down. If you're asking people to include the previous work, you're going to be able to take a look, see if their work's any good, because you've got to understand as well, their work replicates you, right? They're posting on your behalf, so whatever they're doing, if it's a bad job, it's going to look bad on you. If it's a good job, it's going to look good on you. So finding an outsourcer can sometimes be a bit of a tedious process, but trust me, when you do find them, they're an absolute lifesaver. So now that you've created a job posting, you're going to get all these applicants come in. What do you look for in a good outsourcer? What are the key tendencies? Like what are you looking for, right? What can this guy offer over this guy, right? What is the things you are looking for in this person's application? Number one, by asking questions inside of your job posting, you want to see if the people who apply to the jobs answer them. If they do not answer them, they're clearly just copy and pasting cover letter after cover letter, and they've got a really low attention to detail, and it's probably not someone you want to work with, right? So straight away, straight off the bat, you can actually sift through all of the freelancers who haven't answered your questions, have clearly just copied and pasted it to everyone and their uncle. They're not really, it doesn't really matter who you are or what your job posting is. They've seen it says social media in it, so they've pasted it and they've just sent it into you, right? So number one, check that they've answered your questions. And by answer questions, I mean, sent you links to their examples or sent you a portfolio or whatever, and also told you, or at least touched on the fixed rate, the price aspect that you would have asked them in the job. The second thing you want to look for, you want to click on their profile. Now, you want to look for, so on Upwork, when you choose, when freelancers apply for your job, you're going to get a big list of them. And sometimes what it will say is their job success score. You'll get a little blue line and it will say like 100% job success, 50% job success, 70% job success. Not all freelancers have these job success scores because that means they might not have been on the platform a long enough time. But a lot of them do. Now, if they do have job success scores, you want to look for the freelancers that have got a high job success score. Now, I know this seems obvious, but if a freelancer's got something like 50% job success, it's probably not that good. That means every one out of 2 jobs he doesn't do a good job. So, do you want that? Not really. It doesn't seem that consistent. There's loads of freelancers that are going to have 60, 70, 80, well not even 60, sorry, like 70, 80, 90, 100% job success score. Realistically, you don't want to be going for anyone less than at least less than 75 job success score, right? Ideally, you can probably find a freelancer that's got between 90 to 100 at a reasonable price. So that's another thing to look for. After that, when you click on their profile, you want to take a look at their reviews, because these reviews don't lie. These are previous clients. What are they saying about them? Read the reviews. How many stars are they giving them? Is it 5 stars? Is it 1 star? Take a look, read through, right? Because if you scroll down and they might, and it says things like, he's a nightmare to reply to, he's got very bad communication skills, did not do the job I asked him, 1 star. That's not someone you want to work with. Whereas if you go on a profile and all of these reviews are 5 stars, great to work with, fantastic communication, very professional. You're looking for freelancers and accounts that have got good, solid reviews. Another thing you want to look for is within the Upwork profile, they're going to have a portfolio. Most of these people are going to have a portfolio. And what this means is, it's going to be examples of all their other work. Take a look. Imagine that this portfolio, all of his work, was for you, right? On your behalf. Would you be happy with the work in that portfolio? If you were to post that for your client, would you be happy with that work? Take a look. Take a look at the standard. Okay, they might have fantastic reviews, but if the work's not as good and it's not to the quality that you're looking for, then there's no point hiring them because they're not good enough. Try and find someone else, right? So take a look at that portfolio and see if the work they're putting in their portfolio is something that you'd happily let them post on your behalf, all right? After that, you want to read through their profile. Look at their experiences. What have they done in the past? How long have they been doing this? How many hours have they worked on Upwork? It will tell them how many hours they've worked or how much earnings they've got. If they've earned 10,000 on Upwork, 20,000, 30, 50,000 on Upwork, they've been doing this a long time. So they probably know what they're doing, right? They've got a ton of experience, not just experience learning about it. They've been in the trenches doing this for 50,000 earned. They know what they're doing, all right? Another thing to bear in mind as well is, are they a completely new profile? Because this doesn't always necessarily mean a bad thing, because a lot of people have worked in corporate America all their lives doing graphic design, right? They're really professional. but they're just new to Upwork. So don't always disregard people with new profiles. However, most of the time, you want to hire someone with high levels of experience that know the Upwork platform, know what's expected of them. Another thing to look for is what is their English like within their portfolio, within their profile. What, you know, every Upwork profile has what's called an overview, and it's where you can basically write whatever you want about yourself, right? Whatever you want. It's basically a bio, right? And what is their English like? Have they got loads of spelling mistakes? Is there loads of grammatical errors? Does it not really make any sense? Is it not is it not any good? Like, does it not really make any sense? You know what I mean? You're looking for that, because if you're looking for someone to communicate with, someone to write your posts, you need them to be good English. They can't be making all these spelling mistakes and posting on your behalf. It's not professional. And then the final thing you want to look at is that hourly rate. Now, don't pay too much attention to this, because I'm going to cover in a bit, but sometimes the cheapest freelancers aren't always actually the cheapest ones. But what I'm saying by hourly rate is, if some guy's on like $200 an hour, like, there's no way on earth that it's not going to be profitable for you. So if someone with $50, $60, $70 an hour, even in excess of, it's not going to be worth it for you. You can't do that, all right? So just close that application down and on to the next one. And one final thing actually I want to touch on before we hop on to the next point is, you've got to understand with Upwork, right? You're posting out a job and people are applying to your job, all right? People are applying to your job. So the freelancer you're looking for might not apply to your job posting. Just say you posted your job posting on a Monday. Your dream outsourcer might be on holiday for a weekend. He might be on a weekend away or something, all right? But on Wednesday, he would have applied to the job. So what I'm saying is, don't just post one job and expect to find your dream freelancer. There's thousands and thousands and thousands of freelancers on the marketplace, and you may get 20 to 50 apply on the first one. All right? So put a job posting out on the Monday, put a job posting out on the Tuesday, put one out on the Wednesday, put one out on the Thursday, and gather a huge portfolio, a huge list of freelancers that you potentially want to work with. Because when you do that, like I said, your dream freelancer might be on holiday, or he might be busy and he might not have a chance to apply for jobs. But on Thursday, he would have applied for the job. So make sure you stay consistent with the job postings as well. All right then, guys, so the next thing I want to touch on now in regards to outsourcing is, how do you know that you can trust these outsourcers? Because, like I said before, they're going to be posting on your behalf. You're going to be essentially letting them take control of your client's Facebook ads, or your client's Facebook page, or their Instagram page, and things like that. How can you trust these people? Number one, we touched on it earlier, reviews. When you go through Upwork, okay, if they've got hundreds of 5-star reviews from previous clients, you can probably trust them. Their whole career, their whole income, their whole livelihood is dependent on these reviews. They know it's huge social proof for them, and the more 5-star reviews they get, the more business they get. They know that, right? They're not going to all of a sudden mess you over and get a 1-star review on their profile, because it's going to ruin the amount of income they get. Because one 1-star review for a freelancer could be literally detrimental. It stays at the top of your profile. It's going to be a lot harder for them to get business. So if they've been doing this a while, they've been doing this for years, they've got tons and tons of 5-star reviews, you can probably trust them. It's a little harder to trust people who've just come onto the website, because you don't know what they're like. You honestly don't know what they're like. But I'd just like to touch on something else now in regards to one extra level of trust, and something you can put in place to ensure that nothing goes wrong. So in regards to social media management, if you use tools such as Sprout Social, tools such as Hootsuite and things of that nature, what I recommend you do is you should give them access to your account. So for example, say you get all the information from your clients, you get all of your clients' login information, you get their passwords, you keep their login information and passwords. In my opinion, I don't know what other people do, but you should never give your clients' passwords out to someone else without their agreement, or without getting the outsourcer to sign an NDA, which is a non-disclosure agreement. You should never just go and give away your passcodes, your clients' passcodes. They've trusted you with them. That's a breach of trust, like it's privacy infringement, things like that. You can't do that, all right? Unless you get agreement from your client, and they're also they do know that you're going to be doing this, and then in which case that's fine, right? If they know you've got staff that work with you, that is honestly fine. But just unless they know or they sort of know what's been going on here, don't just give away your clients' passwords. So what I like to do, and that's a disaster waiting to happen really, if you're worried about trust in the first place and you go in and giving them their passwords, they can log on, they can delete the accounts, they can post random stuff. Not that they would do that, but in order to just be super careful with who you trust, if you put all of your clients' login information onto a software like Hootsuite, like Sprout Social, right? And then you give your outsourcer access to your account login for that software, you've never once passed over any passwords and things like that. So that's one way to become very, very safe with it. Another thing is you can actually put a level of authority behind the people that you add into this. So if you don't give them your login information, you can actually add members of staff to these bits of software. So for example, say I had a Hootsuite account and I was the admin, I could add a team member, I could add them to the account, and then what I could do to that person then is delegate him a role as an admin or as an editor or things like that. Now these different levels have different levels of things that they can access, things that they can do. And one thing you can do is you can make sure that every time the outsourcer posts, it has to be approved by you before it can go live. So if you're really, really, really worried about trusting an outsourcer and you want to take things to the next level, just when you have these on these software, for the first month that you work together, after a while you can just, you know that you can trust them, you can let them run with it. But in the beginning, something you can do is just limit their posting access, make it so you have to authorize every single post that goes live. That's just another way that you can ensure that you can trust the outsourcer and nothing's going to go wrong on behalf of your clients. So the next topic that I want to cover now is how do you know that these outsourcers aren't being really, really slow on purpose just to build up all the hours and then charge you a bomb at the end? Very, very, very simple. Never, ever, 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 ever hire freelancers on hourly rate. I touched on this earlier when I said about posting the job. You agree upon a fixed rate price every single time for your client. This is the job, how much are you going to charge me for it? Not how, I don't care if it takes you 2 minutes or it takes you 20,000 hours. If you get this job done, what are you going to charge me? And find out. This is good for a load of reasons. Number one, you actually know the exact price of your outsourcing costs. You can figure out the percentage of the revenue it's going to cost you. So for example, say a client pays you $1,000 a month and you say, right, I need this doing, and they say that's going to be 100. You know that that's 10% of your revenue is your outsourcing cost. And that's fine. You know that that's very profitable for you. You're taking in 90% of the revenue. That's definitely worth it. All of a sudden, let's say they're an outsourcer on $20 an hour, right? And you say, right, yeah, I'd like to do this job. And they just do it nice and slow. The longer they take, the more they get paid. They're essentially being incentivized to take longer to do the job. That's such a backward way of thinking. Do not do that, because not that they're they might not do it on purpose, but they might go and get a coffee, leave the clock running, build up the time. Week 1, your outsourcing costs might be 100. Week 2, it might be 120. Week 4 might be 140. Then it might be 80 the week after. You don't know the exact cost of your outsourcers. You do not want to know that. You want to know specifically how much is coming in and how much is coming out for your business, so you know that it's going to be profitable. Because else, they can take as long as they like. They can literally take as long as they like, and they're incentivized, like I said, to take longer. And you don't want to do that. So always, always, always agree upon a fixed rate price. So simply say to them, look, what I expect for you is to do 30 Facebook posts for me, run 2 Facebook ad campaigns a month, and also just manage the pages, maybe do a bit of reputation management, reply to some comments. Don't tell me how long it's going to take you, give me a fixed rate cost, and then we can negotiate from there. You can agree upon a price that works well for you. One thing I do like to do as well, touching on the subject of speaking about pricing, you can negotiate prices, especially as an agency. If you're an agency and you're going to have several clients, the chances are you're going to go to that outsourcer over and over again. And if you make that clear to him and you say, look, I'm not just going to bring you one client, I could bring you 2, 3, 4. Every single time I get a new client, I'm going to bring them to you. So can we work out some kind of deal where you make it a little bit cheaper because I just bring you a pure volume of clients, and I'll make sure that you're my go-to every time. And finally, guys, the last thing I want to touch on this video is how to find a right balance between cheap and quality outsourcers. And Every single outsourcer on the market is different, and there's no one answer to this, but the one thing I can say to you is the cheapest outsourcers aren't always the cheapest. Let me just give you this scenario. There's an outsourcer whose hourly rate is $5 an hour. It takes him 10 hours to do a job. That's going to cost you $50. There's an outsourcer on $10 an hour, so twice the price, but he only takes 3 hours to do the job. That's $30. It is cheaper, okay? So what I've found in all my time, you don't want to actually look for the cheapest freelancers, because they're not. They're going to take longer to do the job, and the quality of work isn't always the best. So what you want to look for is freelancers anywhere between the $10 to $25 an hour range. This means generally their work's quite good, they're professional, they can get it done in a timely manner, and also because they're better at their job, they get things done quicker. So the hourly rate might be more, but if they take less hours to do it, it can actually work out and be cheaper. Anyway guys, I hope that helped in regards to the outsourcing topic. If you do have any questions, I'm sure Iman will put my social media above or below, so you can reach out to me if you have any further questions about outsourcing, and I'll happily help you. Thank you guys for watching. I'll see you later.